Welcome guys to my video about the first conditional. This is Miriam from language studio Euphema, and in this video you can find some definitions about what the first conditional is. So I'm going to tell you what it is, why it's called a conditional, what its structure is, how to make it, how to form a first conditional sentence. Then we'll also go through some common mistakes that we make when we form first conditional sentences. In the second part, we're going to practice, we're going to drill the structure of the first conditional. And as you can see, there is it is a translation of sentences. So this part is mostly designed for the Slovak learners of English. If you're not Slovak, never mind, because you can skip straight to the simulated conversation, which is the last part of the video, where I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm going to leave you some space to answer, to practice the first conditional. And so it will be like in a normal lesson almost. And why is a conditional called conditional? Well, the answer is simple, because all conditional sentences express a condition. A condition, in Slovak podmienka. So if something happens in the future, something else will happen. All right? This is a condition. And also the word which you can always find in all conditional sentences is this short word if. Okay? Remember that. You have to look for this word in a conditional sentence. Oh, it's always there. Another thing that you should remember about all conditional sentences or statements is that they consist of two parts. One of them is the if clause here, also called conditional clause. That doesn't matter. In Slovak, it is called podmienková veta. And the other part is the main clause. In Slovak, hlavná veta. Okay? So this is the structure of all conditional statements. And let's get more specific now. So when to use the first conditional? All right, so we use the first conditional to talk about something which can realistically happen in the future. Okay? Stress on realistically. So the first conditional expresses situations that are very likely to happen in the future. It's very possible that these situations will happen, all right, in the future. Another thing to remember for the Slovak learners is that the meaning of this short word if is ak in the first conditional, all right? Let's see the structure. All right, so if we choose to start with the if clause, then we have to start with if, and present simple must follow. So if plus present simple, and then the main clause follows, where we have to use will and infinitive. That is the structure. Now let's see some examples. First example, if I oversleep, I will be late for work. Well, this is a realistic situation that can happen, that might happen in the future, right? If I oversleep, so as we said before, in the if clause, we have to put if and present simple, which we did because we put if and oversleep, which is present simple. Well, and in the main clause, we use, let's see, will and infinitive. So I will be late for work, okay? Will plus infinitive, be. If I oversleep, I will be late for work. Spoken English is very, I'd say, economical. So remember to use a contraction. Contraction here, contraction, okay, this word means this shortened form of the verb, all right? So I will, you say I'll. So if I oversleep, I'll be late for work. I'll be late for work, which means I will be late for work. Please don't say I'll. Yeah, many students say I'll be late for work. It's very hard to pronounce it like that. Yeah, just say I'll. I'll be late for work. Repeat it after me. I'll be late for work. Very well. So this was one example. Another one here. If it's sunny tomorrow, we will have a barbecue. Good. So again, we started with the if clause. If it's sunny tomorrow, again, we see that after if, we put present simple. So it is. If it is sunny tomorrow. See, there is a contraction too. It is, it's. So if it's sunny tomorrow, we will have a barbecue. Main clause, we have to put will and infinitive, which is will have. And there you go. If it's sunny tomorrow, we will have a barbecue. Again, you can use this contraction here. So instead of we will have a barbecue, you say will have a barbecue. Will have a barbecue. Another thing you should know about the first conditional, that it is possible to swap the two clauses. Okay, so before I said that the structure of the first conditional is if clause, if plus present simple, main clause, will plus infinitive. But you can also do this. You can swap the two clauses. All right, so you can exchange them. You can start with the main and continue with the if clause. Let's see. All right, this is it. Yeah, it is not a rule that a conditional sentence must start with if. Yes, you can start with this main clause. So we will have a barbecue if it's sunny tomorrow. So if comes like in front of the second part of the sentence. All right, it's not here, but it's here. All right. First, there is a main clause, and then comes the if clause, and it's completely all right. So we will have a barbecue if it's sunny tomorrow. Will and infinitive in the main clause, if and present simple in the if clause. So the swap structure is exactly what I said now. So will plus infinitive, main clause, if present simple, if clause. Good. Regarding punctuation, there's just one important rule that you should respect and follow, and it is do not put a comma in Slovak čiarka before the word if. Okay, notice this. Here in this first example, we start with the if clause and continue with the main clause. If it's sunny tomorrow, comma, we will have a barbecue. All right. So if the if clause comes as the first one, we put comma. But if we swap the two clauses, yeah, if we exchange them, so we start with main, we will have a barbecue, no comma, and if clause, if it's sunny tomorrow. So basically, you can see that there is no comma before the word if. Okay, just remember that and you're fine. Do not put comma before the word if. Now, what are the most common mistakes we make when we're trying to form a first conditional sentence? Mistake number one, will in an if clause. Now, what did we learn about the structure of the first conditional? That we have to use if and present simple in the if clause and will infinitive in the main clause. So here, remember this, do not put will after if. Such as in this case, the Slovak sentence, ak sa poponáhľame, stihneme vlak. So the wrong translation would be, if we will hurry, we will catch the train. Of course, will here is incorrect because we never put will after if, and here it is, so it's wrong. The correct translation would be, if we hurry, we will catch the train. So in the if clause, we have to put present simple, and in the main clause, we put this will and infinitive. Now, I would like to say something about why the Slovak learners of English make this mistake. It is because, as you can see here in this example, ak sa poponáhľame, stihneme vlak. All right, so the verbs poponáhľame and stihneme are both expressed in the future form in the Slovak language. That's why when you are thinking like how to translate this first conditional, you naturally, I would say, put there will, yes, because in Slovak we do it. So many Slovak students want to use this future, this word will, in both clauses. But unfortunately, in English, this is wrong. Second mistake that is very commonly made is the incorrect use of the word so. Again, this happens to the Slovak learners of English. So Slovak learners of English sometimes use the word so before the main clause. For example, this sentence. Ak nezavrieš okno, tak ti bude v noci zima. This is what we naturally say in Slovak. Tak ti bude v noci zima. Well, then, incorrectly translated sentence would be, if you don't close the window, so you'll get cold at night. Well, this word so is not really correct here, right? This happens to those who like to translate everything word for word. So they want to translate tak, right? And they use the word so, but it is wrong because in English, the meaning of it is preto. That's why, therefore. Okay? So you can see, ak nezavrieš okno, preto ti bude v noci zima. That's nonsense, right? Doesn't make any sense. If you really need to use something instead of this tak in Slovak, here is a solution for you. Use then, not so. So, ak nezavrieš okno, tak potom ti bude v noci zima. It makes sense in Slovak, and it also makes sense in English. If you don't close the window, then you'll get cold at night. This is completely correct, so you can use this word then. However, as I said before, English is very economical, so the fewer words, the better. Let's just say it totally simply, and let's say, if you don't close the window, you'll get cold at night. No gimmicks. And here comes the second part of the video, which is practice. It is designed for the Slovak learners who will translate the first conditional clauses from Slovak into English. But if you're not Slovak, you can just, go ahead and skip straight to the conversation part. Okay, so translate the bits, please. Ak bude pršať? If you said, if it rains, you were correct. As you can see, we started with if, and it's the if clause, so we have to use only present simple if it rains. Let's go on. Ak budeš chcieť. If you want. Don't forget not to use will, okay? So if you want, only present simple. Ak pôjdem do obchodu. If I go to the shop, very good. Ak bude teplo. If it's warm. So you can see that all of these were if clauses. Now let's continue with main clauses. Ostanem doma. I'll stay at home. This is the main clause, so I have to use will, and I used also this contraction, right? Because it sounds more natural. So I'll stay at home. I'll stay at home. Please notice me saying not I'll stay at home, but I'll, okay? Just I'll stay at home. Let's go on. Pomôžem ti. I'll help you. Kúpim chlieb. I'll buy bread. Pôjdeme von. We'll go out. We will, or will go out. So now we can see the whole first conditional sentences. Ak bude pršať, ostanem doma. If it rains, I'll stay at home. If you won't, I'll help you. If I go to the shop, I'll buy bread. If it's warm, we'll go out. Okay, now let's translate the swapped sentences. Okay, so this time you'll translate again, but we'll start with main clauses and then we'll continue translating if clauses. Ostanem doma. I'll stay at home. Pomôžem ti. I'll help you. Good. Kúpim chlieb. I'll buy bread. Pôjdeme von. We'll go out. Very well. And now let's continue translating the if clauses. Ak bude pršať. If it rains. Ak budeš chcieť. If you want. Ak pôjdem do obchodu. If I go to the shop. Ak bude teplo. If it's warm. So, the swapped sentences, I'll stay at home if it rains. I'll help you if you want. I'll buy bread if I go to the shop. We'll go out if it is warm or if it's warm. Okay? So will plus infinitive in the main clause and if plus present simple in the if clause. Let's continue practicing. Ak mi nezavolá, if he doesn't call me, ak spravím skúšky, if I pass the exams, ak zmeškám autobus, if I miss the bus, ak bude jedlo studené, if the meal is cold, again, these were if clauses, and let's continue with main clauses. Zavolám mu ja. I'll call him. Oslávim to. I'll celebrate it. Pôjdem pešo. I'll go on foot. See, there is the preposition on foot. Okay? I'll go on foot. It's a fixed phrase. Zohrejem si ho. I'll heat it up. Again, the whole sentences. If he doesn't call me, I'll call him. If I pass the exams, I'll celebrate it. If I miss the bus, I'll go on foot. If the meal is cold, I'll heat it up. If clauses are used with present simple. Main clauses are used with will. Swapped versions. Zavolám mu. I'll call him. Oslávim to. I'll celebrate it. Pôjdem pešo. I'll go on foot. Zohrejem si jedlo. I'll heat up the meal. And now the if clauses. Ak mi nezavolá. If he doesn't call me. Ak spravím skúšky. If I pass the exams. Ak zmeškám autobus. If I miss the bus. Ak bude studené. If it is cold. I'll call him if he doesn't call me. I'll celebrate it if I pass the exams. I'll go on foot if I miss the bus. I'll heat up the meal if it is cold. Main sentences used with will everywhere, and if sentences or if clauses used with only present simple everywhere. Okay. Ak ma bude boliť hlava, if I have a headache, ak si nezoberieš dáždnik, very well. If you don't take an umbrella, ak budú susedia hluční, if the neighbors are noisy, if the neighbors, because we're talking about specific neighbors, but you can also use if my neighbors are noisy. Ak prídem o prácu, if I lose my job, well, and let's continue with main clauses. Vezmem si tabletku. I'll take a pill. Zmokneš. You'll get wet. Get wet is the connection that we need to use here, okay? You'll or you will get wet. Pronunciation, you'll. You'll get wet. Okay, very well. Let's continue. Zavoláme políciu. We'll call the police. Nájdem si novú. I'll find a new one. So if I have a headache, I'll take a pill. If you don't take an umbrella, you'll get wet. If the neighbors are noisy, we'll call the police. If I lose my job, I'll find a new one. Now let's swap them. Vezmem si tabletku. The main clause is starting now. I'll take a pill. Zmokneš. You'll get wet. Very good. Zavoláme políciu. We'll call the police. Nájdem si novú prácu. I'll find a new job. And now, if clauses. Ak ma bude boliť hlava. If I have a headache. Ak si nevezmeš dáždnik. If you don't take an umbrella. Ak budú susedia hluční. If the neighbors are noisy. Ak prídem o súčasnú. If I lose my present one. So the swapped versions, I'll take a pill if I have a headache. You'll get wet if you don't take an umbrella. We'll call the police if the neighbors are noisy. I'll find a new job if I lose my present one. So main sentences using will, and if sentences or if clauses using present simple. Well, so now let's check if you are able to complete the whole sentences, okay? First conditional sentences. So translate this. Ak bude pršať, ostanem doma. If... Okay, let's check it. If it rains, I'll stay at home. Ak bude teplo, pôjdeme von. If it's warm, we'll go out. Ak spravím skúšky, oslavím to. If I pass the exams, I'll celebrate it. Ak prídem o prácu, nájdem si novú. If I lose my job, I'll find a new one. Okay, very good job. Zmokneš, ak si nevezmeš dážnik. So here we have the swapped versions. Watch out. You'll get wet if you don't take an umbrella. Will, after or in the main clause, and present simple in the if clause, right? Let's continue. Pôjdem pešo, ak zmeškám autobus. Now, I hope you remember this phrase here. Go on foot, right? So if, sorry, not if, because it's a main clause, but I'll go on foot if I miss the bus. That's right. Pomôžem ti, ak budeš chcieť. I'll help you if you want. Okay, very well. Well, and here comes the last part of this video, which is conversation. How it's gonna work? Okay, I'm gonna ask questions. First of all, I will answer for myself. They will be like model answers. And after that, I'll leave some space for you to answer at home. Okay, so it will be like a simu conversation. Let's start. The first question on the list. What will you do if it rains next weekend? Okay, if it rains next weekend, I'll stay at home. I'll stay at home and I'll make some new videos, okay? What about you? What will you do if it rains next weekend? Answer please. Very well. I hope you remembered to use present simple in the if clause and will and infinitive in the main clause. Okay, so very good job. Let's continue. Second question. What will you buy if you go to the shop later today? Okay, if I go to the shop later today, I'll buy cottage cheese because it's good. It has a lot of proteins that I don't have anymore in my fridge. Then I'll buy some butter and also some toothpaste because we're running out of it. So if I go to the shop later today, I'll buy these 3 things. What about you? What will you buy if you go to the shop later today? Answer. Super. Let's continue. Third question. Will you take a pill if you have a headache? Okay, yes, I will definitely take a pill if I have a headache. Why is that? Because I quite often have this headache, like usually at the end of the week when, the pressure's off and somehow, I don't know, I can feel it in my head. So I get this headache and it's unbearable. So I often take a pill to get rid of the headache, get rid of the pain. I know it's not very good for my health, but what can I say? What about you? If you have a headache, will you take a pill? Okay, very well. Next question. If your neighbors are noisy, will you call the police? Okay, for me, if my neighbors are noisy, I will probably not call the police. I think I will bang angrily on the radiator and I will hope for them to stop, to come to their senses. But I will not call the police. Will you call the police if your neighbors are noisy? Answer, please. Good. Okay. Next question. What will you do if the power goes out for 3 hours tonight? All right. If the power goes out for 3 hours tonight, I will probably read my Kindle. Kindle, I mean, the ebook reader. I've got several books downloaded in it and it is charged up, so it doesn't need any electricity, you know, so I can read it. Doesn't matter if the power is on or off. So I will read my Kindle if the power goes out for 3 hours tonight. And you? What will you do if the power goes out for 3 hours tonight? Very well. Well, and the last question, it is about a situation in a restaurant that can possibly happen to anyone. If your meal is cold, will you complain? Okay, so if my meal is cold and I'm in a restaurant, I will complain. Yes, I'll complain if my meal is cold. I'll call the waiter and I'll tell him that this is my problem, and I'm sure he will just heat it up or he'll rectify the situation. So if your meal is cold when you're in a restaurant, will you complain to the waiter? Okay, so that's it. This is the end of the video. I hope that you've enjoyed and that you've learned something about first conditional, that you've practiced. Whenever you want to, you can come back to it and practice and drill more, and very well done. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope to see you again in some other video upcoming about second conditional, possibly. Bye-bye.